Hi, welcome back. First, wanted to say thank you for those of you who got your rhetorical considerations uh, analysis in the folders on time. I appreciate that. Those of you who got it in late, I got your emails. I accept your work and I will look at it and grade it, but you will be lowered a grade depending on how long it took you to get it to me. So that's just the penalty for getting it in late. I know some people have computer issues. It's amazing how nobody has computer issues until 10 minutes before something's due in a folder. But just so you know, and so there's no mistake, everything you have to turn in this semester for me from here on out will be on a Friday before 11:59. Some of you tried to turn things in at like 11 or 12:12 and were telling me, oh, there's something wrong with the folder. I can't get it in. No, there's nothing wrong with the folder. It's told to shut down at 11:59 because that's the deadline. Now, last week you had an entire week to write essentially 3 paragraphs. So it's kind of hard to have sympathy for people who are struggling and they don't tell me they're struggling and they wait to the last minute. I literally got one email 2 hours before it was due saying, could you explain the assignment to me? It's like, at that point, no, I'm not going to explain the assignment to you because you've put off. It's 3 videos, a short story, and a prompt. And until you expose yourself to all those, how do I know what questions you're going to have? So I'm available to you guys throughout the week. Very few people this semester have taken advantage of that. I've only had one Google Meet with a student who I thought that Google Meet helped tremendously. So I would encourage you to set up a Google Meet with me. I'm pretty much free, so let me know what time to be in front of my computer, and I will do my best to be on my computer or on my phone so we can do that, okay? Because it's important. It's important for us to start getting this work done. Today, well, before we get into the lecture today, let me just remind you that coming up this Friday, you need to have filled out the artifact worksheet. All I need you to submit is to copy and paste that last page where you type in your answers. I don't need all the 4 pages ahead of that. Just copy it, paste it into a Microsoft Word document, fill it out with your name and all the other MLA format criteria with your page number and your last name and everything double-spaced. That's all I need for this assignment coming up. So that needs to be in the folder. If you wait until 11:58 and something goes wrong or your internet glitches and you don't get it in, you will not receive your 1 point for that assignment, okay? It's just all there is to it. Now, the only reason I'm accepting late work for a grade down is because the rhetorical considerations was for 10 points. So I don't want, everyone to lose a letter grade worth of points just for whatever purposes. I had one person email me in advance saying that they were having issues in advance. I will always be sympathetic if you let me know in advance you're struggling, so at least I can offer some help and try to get you where you need to go. Okay, so that having been said, this Friday is the artifact. It also says essay first draft should be completed. There's not a folder. You do not have to turn in your first draft. That's just my way of saying if you're pacing yourself right, you should already have your first draft. Writing is a process. We hate processes. That's why none of y'all like writing. But it's not a one and done. We live in a one and done society. We want to get it over with and everything, but writing is not like that, especially if you're writing to learn how to write. You got to do things more than once. So learning to revise. The first time you write, the only thing you're considering or should be thinking about is getting your words on the page, getting your ideas on the page. When you go back to revise, that's when you start looking at how am I organizing my thoughts. And that's when you edit. Okay, I'm not going to use this. Oh, no, I thought of this, that this needs to go here. That's the point of a second draft, is organization. Third draft, that's when you start going back and looking at grammar. Okay, fourth draft, that's when you start using considerations of style. Am I using, academic vocabulary, formal writing, not using any slang? Am I using good sentence structures? Am I not overusing the to be verb? We'll talk about that in a separate video. But today I want to talk about 5 things that are the big grammar errors that a lot of people make, that hopefully I can walk you through on how not to make those. And these are the top 5 for me that I see much more often than any of the others. So the first one is, what have I got here? Comma splices. I'm sure you've heard that expression a lot, comma splices. Some of you may not even know what it is. I don't care if you know what it's called. I just need you to know how not to make this. Comma splice is when you have a complete sentence or an independent clause and another complete sentence or independent clause, and you try to put them together, right, to create a more complex sentence, which is elevating your style. There's nothing wrong with that. I encourage you to do that. But there are only 3 ways to do it. One is you don't join them at all. You separate them with period. You know, I like ice cream, period. I bought some ice cream, period. 2 complete thoughts, right? Separate them with a period, you're good. Ernest Hemingway made an entire career out of writing short declarative sentences, so there's nothing wrong with that. But you want your essay to be a little more sophisticated with your sentence style, and we're going to do 2 whole episodes towards the end of the semester about elevating your sentence, variety of sentence patterns. But for now, a comma splice is when you just connect those 2. I like ice cream. I bought some ice cream, and all you connect them with is a comma. Okay, that's not enough. If you use a comma, you have to use a coordinated conjunction, and that's those fanboys, and, but, or, nor, for, so, yet. That will help you with that. Okay, so if you have I like ice cream, comma, so I bought ice cream, period, that's joining those 2 independent clauses together correctly. But if you just put I like ice cream, comma, I bought some ice cream, no, that's a comma splice. Okay, if you don't put anything there, I like ice cream, I bought ice cream, that's called a run-on sentence or fuse sentence. That's problem number 2. Okay. The third way you can connect those 2 independent clauses, I like ice cream, I bought some ice cream, is to stick in a semicolon. Okay, if you use a semicolon, that's the dot and the comma under it. If you use a semicolon, you do not have to put, or you shouldn't put, a coordinated conjunction. It's not semicolon and I bought some ice cream. You get rid of the and altogether. So if you use the comma, need a coordinated conjunction. If you use a semicolon, no coordinating conjunction. And the second part of the sentence, the second independent clause, unless it starts with I, like that sentence does, it will be a lowercase letter. So say, for example, your sentence was, we went to the movies, semicolon. We saw a science fiction movie. That W in that we with that semicolon is lowercase because essentially you're making it one sentence, so you don't stick another capital letter. Of course, if you're using I to begin that second sentence, that's always capitalized. Okay, so comma splices, run-on sentences, or fuse sentences. A sentence fragment is when, for something to be an independent clause, or that's a fancy way of saying a complete sentence, you need 3 parts. You need it to be have a subject, you need to have a verb, and it needs to be a complete thought. So it can be really long and be considered a fragment. Fragment means just a little piece of something. As we walk to the store, if you put a period there, that's a sentence fragment. There's no, as we walked to the, it just doesn't make sense. We've got we and walked, a subject and a verb, but it doesn't make sense. It's not a complete thought. It needs more. I saw. That's a subject and a verb without a direct object of what you saw, but still, that would be a complete sentence because it makes a complete thought. Were you there? Yeah, I saw. So anyway, that's number 3. That's a sentence fragment. You want to make sure that you don't have problems with those. Now, the other 2 are kind of similar in that one is your subjects have to match your verbs, okay? Here in the South, we do not speak correctly. Well, I don't guess there's anywhere that everybody speaks grammatically correctly all the time. We conjugate the verb to be or we don't conjugate I be, you be, we be. Where I come from, that's how we talk, because I'm Southern as hell, but that's sort of when you're speaking and you're communicating, the rules don't really matter. When you're writing academically, you've got to make your subjects agree with your verbs in number, okay? The final one that's a biggie, and it's probably the one that people mess up the most, is pronoun antecedent. So when you use a pronoun like he, him, her, ours, yours, theirs, its, when you use any of those, there's a word that is replacing. That word that it's replacing is called the antecedent, which usually means it comes before it. We use pronouns so we don't have to keep saying, Mr. Barker went into Mr. Barker's classroom and sat in Mr. Barker's desk and talked to Mr. Barker's class. So you don't have to keep repeating. We use Mr. Barker went into his class and sat at his desk and talked to his students, okay? It makes things flow a little better than to keep repeating that antecedent all the time. So antecedents must agree with their pronouns in number and in gender. Immediately, it sounds strange if I say, my father, she's a handsome man. Okay, they don't agree with gender, and those are easy, but the problem comes with number. When you have words like each, or right now there's a colon cancer advertisement of this woman swimming, and this little box is following her around talking to her, and he says, you look like someone who knows what they're doing or what they want. And it's like someone, and then the pronoun is they. That doesn't match. That's a grammar error, but because that's kind of the way we talk, someone, one, singular, they, plural, they don't match. So that's one of the things you really got to be careful to proofread for when you're proofreading your essays, or when you take your essay to the writing center and they ask you, what do you want me to read for? Say, check my pronouns and antecedents, because I want to make sure they all agree. Okay? So I know I ripped through this real fast, but these videos can't really go over 15 minutes, so they won't load up into YouTube. So if you have questions, or if you need me to guide you towards some places to practice online, you can just Google pronoun antecedent exercises on Google, and it will send you to all kinds of free exercises that you can practice online. I encourage you to do that. Okay? Stay healthy, stay well. Don't forget to get your worksheet, at least that last page of your worksheet. You're not going to be able to do your artifact worksheet if you haven't picked your movie yet. I'm trying to move you along. We've got the worksheet due this week. Next week, we've got a works cited page exercise that I'm going to post for you to do. And then the following week after that, which is the week before spring break, you've got to have that essay 1 finished and turned in to me. Okay? We'll talk some more. But as for now, that's all I have to say about proofreading these things. All right? Have a great day.